Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel which is Explore Yourselves, Banking and General Knowledge, etc. Today I'm going to describe my short story. Small daily efforts create big results. Ritwik lived in a narrow lane of a crowded town where people spent most of their lives complaining about fate. Some blamed money, some blamed luck, while others blamed society for every failure they faced. Among them lived Ritwik, a young man in his early 20s who also believed that success belonged only to special people. He often watched successful businessmen, respected officers, and talented individuals and silently convinced himself that they were naturally gifted. Deep inside, he carried frustration because his own life looked like ordinary and directionless. His father worked in a small grocery shop from morning till late night, earning barely enough to manage household expenses. His mother stitched clothes for neighbors to support the family income. They never forced Ritwik to become rich overnight, but they constantly encouraged him to remain disciplined and sincere. However, Ritwik had developed the habit of beginning things with excitement and abandoning them midway. He would start exercising enthusiastically for a week and then stop. He would purchase books but never complete them. He dreamed of clearing competitive exams but spent more time imagining success than preparing for it. Every night he promised himself that from the next morning he would completely change his life. Yet every morning he woke up late, wasted hours on his phone, and postponed important work. Days slowly became months, months became years. His confidence began to disappear because he could clearly see that while others moved ahead in life, he remained stuck in the same place mentally, financially, and emotionally. One evening, after receiving another rejection from a job interview, Ritwik sat alone near a tea stall beside the railway station. Heavy rain had recently stopped and muddy water covered the roads. He stared silently at people rushing towards trains with purpose and determination. Suddenly, an elderly tea seller placed a cup before him and smiled gently. Ritwik looked disturbed, so the old man casually asked why he seemed worried. Ritwik sighed deeply and replied that life never changed despite all his dreams. He complained that luck never supported him and opportunities never arrived. The old tea seller listened quietly before pointing towards a nearby construction site where laborers were working despite the rain. He said softly, "Do you think this building will rise in one day? Every brick looks small and insignificant, but slowly one brick over another creates an entire structure." Those simple words unexpectedly stayed inside Ritwik's mind throughout the night. For the first time, he began wondering whether his real problem was not lack of talent, but lack of consistency. He realized he always chased dramatic results while ignoring small disciplined actions. He wanted immediate transformation without respecting gradual progress. The next morning, instead of making unrealistic promises, Ritwik decided to focus on tiny improvements. He woke up slightly earlier than usual and cleaned his room properly. He spent 30 minutes studying instead of planning impossible schedules. He went for a short walk rather than imagining instant fitness. These actions looked extremely small, almost laughable, but he forced himself to continue. Initially, nothing seemed different. His life still looked ordinary. Still struggled financially. He still lacked confidence. But unlike earlier days, he did not stop after 3 or 4 days. He continued repeating small actions quietly. Every morning, he studied a little. Every evening, he revised what he had learned. He reduced unnecessary phone usage and began reading newspapers regularly. He also started helping his father in the grocery shop to understand responsibility better. Weeks passed slowly. Though visible success had not arrived yet, Ritwik noticed subtle internal changes. His concentration improved slightly, his thoughts became clearer, he wasted less time. More importantly, he began trusting himself again because for the first time he was proving that he could remain disciplined consistently. One afternoon, his school friend Kunal visited him. Kunal had always been energetic and ambitious but lacked discipline. Seeing Ritwik studying regularly surprised him. Laughing casually, Kunal asked, "Do you really think studying 2 or 3 hours daily will change your future?" Ritwik smiled calmly and replied, "I don't know how fast it will change my future, but I know wasting every day definitely won't." Kunal laughed again and left, but Ritvik's words reflected a new maturity developing inside him. Earlier, he would have felt embarrassed by such comments, but now he had started understanding that meaningful growth often appears boring from outside, but because it depends on repetition, patience, and quiet effort rather than excitement. As months passed, Ritwik developed better habits gradually. He stopped searching for motivation every day because he had realized discipline mattered more than temporary emotional excitement. Some mornings he still felt lazy. Some days he felt hopeless after seeing others progress faster. But even on difficult days, he forced himself to continue small actions. He learned that consistency during low moods creates stronger results than temporary enthusiasm during good moods. Winter morning, his father fell sick and could not manage the grocery shop for several days. Ludwig handled the shop entirely on his own while continuing his studies at night. The experience changed him deeply. Earlier, he used to complain constantly about his struggle, but now he began understanding the silent sacrifices his parents made throughout life. Watching his tired mother work late into the night despite physical exhaustion filled him with responsibility. That period taught Ritwik another important lesson. Small daily efforts are not only about personal ambition, but they also build character. Every time a person chooses discipline over excuses, patience over frustration, or responsibility over laziness, something powerful develops internally. Success is not about external achievement, it is about also the transformation of personality. During the following year, Ritwik appeared for another competitive examination. This time he felt more prepared than before. However, when results were announced, he narrowly failed again. This disappointment hit him hard. For 2 days he barely spoke to anyone. Old negative thoughts returned strongly. He questioned whether all his efforts were useless after all. Late one night he walked aimlessly through empty streets and eventually reached the riverside near his town. Sitting there silently, he noticed an old boatman repairing his damaged boat under dim light. Curious, Ritwik asked why he was working so late despite the cold weather. The boatman smiled and replied, "If I repair a little every day, the boat survives for years. If I ignore small damage, one day the entire boat sinks." Those words struck Ritwik deeply because he suddenly realized life worked exactly the same way. People often destroy their future not through massive mistake, but through repeated neglect of small responsibilities. Likewise, people improve their lives through repeated small active positive actions. The next morning, Ritwik returned home with renewed determination. Instead of crying over failure, he analyzed his weaknesses honestly. He improved his study strategy, worked on time management, and strengthened studies subjects where he lacked confidence. He no longer viewed failure as one proof of uselessness. He began seeing it as feedback. Gradually, his emotional strength became stronger. Earlier, one setback could destroy his motivation completely. Now he recovered faster because his discipline had become deeper than his emotions. He understood that successful people are not those who fail, but those who continue despite failure. 2 years later, Ritwik finally secured a respectable government job. The moment his appointment letter arrived, his mother cried with happiness while his father sat silently with moist eyes. Neighbors congratulated him warmly. Some people suddenly called him talented and fortunate, but Ritwik knew the truth nobody had witnessed closely. His success was not created on the day he received the appointment letter. It was created on countless ordinary mornings when he woke up despite laziness. It was created on the evenings when he studied despite frustration. It was created every time he chose discipline over distraction and patience over excuses. After joining his job, Ritwik's life improved financially. He never forgot the lessons of his journey. He continued maintaining small positive habits because he understood that success must also be sustained through consistency. He exercised regularly, continued reading books, and managed money carefully. Unlike many people who become careless after achieving one goal, Ritwik knew that life consistently continuously rewards disciplined effort. Several years later, Ritwik became known as a dependable and respected officer. Younger colleagues often approached him seeking guidance. Many expected him to reveal some secret shortcut to success, but his answer always remained simple. He would say, your future is hidden inside your daily routine. What you repeatedly do matters far more than what you occasionally do. Some listened carefully while others ignored the advice because human beings naturally prefer dramatic solutions. People often underestimate the power of tiny, consistent actions because results appear slowly. Yet, slow progress is still progress. One day, Ritwik visited his old town after many years. The tea stall near the railway station still existed, though the elderly tea seller had become much older now. Ritwik sat there quietly and thanked him for the lesson unknowingly gave years ago. The old man smiled warmly and said, most people want life to change suddenly. Very few understand that small efforts quietly shape destiny. As Ritwik walked through familiar streets, he noticed something deeply meaningful. The giant buildings and houses had not appeared overnight. Trees had not grown in a single season. Had not formed in one day. Everything meaningful around him had taken time, patience, and continuous effort. At that moment, he fully understood one of life's greatest truths. Extraordinary results are often the outcome of ordinary actions repeated consistently for a long period. People admire success but ignore routine. People celebrate achievement but overlook discipline. People notice the destination but forget the journey. Yet behind every respected person, every meaningful achievement, and every transformed life lies a hidden story of small daily efforts repeated faithfully even when nobody was watching. And perhaps that is why small daily efforts are so powerful. They do not create noise immediately. They create transformation silently like drops of water filling an ocean or tiny seeds becoming forests. These efforts slowly shape the direction of an entire life. Disclaimer: this story is a fictional motivational narrative created for educational and inspirational purposes. The characters, incidents, and situations are imaginary and designed to convey lessons about discipline, patience, consistency, and self improvement. The story does not guarantee success in real life, as individual outcomes depend on personal circumstances, opportunities, decisions, and effort. Readers are encouraged to use the message positively while making practical and informed choices in their own lives. Thank you very much for your patience. Please like and share this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel.